If you choose to follow a lifestyle like this, understand that you're going to be a minority when it comes to just the average mainstream person. But I would argue, why would you give a shit about mainstream? Because mainstream does not give a shit about you.
It feels different. It feels fantastic.
Sup mates, Evan from evolutionaryaesthetics.com, and this video is going to be a rather deep dive into 4 areas I think you should be putting the majority of your daily efforts into if your goal is to look and feel your best. These 4 areas, which I termed the potent priorities, come from an ebook I created, which I have a whole other separate video on, giving you a quick rundown of what's included and how to use it in the most efficient manner, no matter whatever your health and fitness goals may be. The beauty in the potent priorities is their applicability. Whether I have a new client who has never set foot in a gym, or I'm working with a bodybuilder who has dedicated decades of their life to get fucking yacked, the information I give them will stem from some branch of one of these aspects. You can start super small, but you can also take them to an extremely meticulous level if it's something you want to or can do, which is almost never required. These potent priorities, movement, nutrition, sleep, and training, don't have any magical abilities. They are based on human function, and they double down on what's required to create the foundation of a healthy, strong, and stress-resilient body. This approach in physique enhancement aims to fill not just your sleeves, but spill over into your well-being. The first section, which discusses movement, out of the 4 priorities within the book, this one is probably the least glamorous, but I also think it's the most underappreciated. There are so many reasons why you want to leverage the benefits of moving your body more throughout a day, and I'll start with what I think will probably perk up the most ears, is the muscle gaining benefits of moving more. I use some examples in the book demonstrating how moving more throughout a day, just by simply walking more and doing just a few, cardio sessions throughout a week can positively impact your recovery both between and during resistance training sessions. Imagine 2 versions of yourself. Version A avoids cardio like C-Bum avoids sumo, and the only movement they get is at the gym and then the minimum amount of movement required to get them from one place to the next. While there is a version B of you that maintains a well-conditioned cardiovascular system by doing cardio only a few times a week, and it doesn't have to be high intensity, and they keep their body moving throughout the day. Both versions of you are going to perform the same workout with the same exercises, weights, reps, and rest periods. The experiences that both of these versions are going to have are very different. As the workout progresses, version A will have a drop in performance sooner. They will begin each consecutive set with an increasingly higher breathing and heart rate from the previous set and exercise because they are worse at recovering. This alone is going to make the perceived exertion of that workout harder. The other version of you, on the other hand, will be able to recover efficiently from each progressive exercise or set, and they don't have nearly as much fatigue weighing them down from the previous set. So as they reach the end of the workouts, they are able to maintain a higher level of performance, and the greater performance you can have, the greater gains you'll see. After the workout, version A is going to be wiped and feel terrible because of how unconditioned they were, and they're just going to go home and sit around until their next workout. While version B, they're going to keep moving, going on whatever walks they do, and then they might even have a cardio session before their next workout. The additional movement version B does increases the volume of blood being pushed throughout their entire body as well as the muscles via the muscular contractions they're performing and the increased demand for oxygen from these activities. This increase in blood volume flowing through the muscles increases the muscles' access to nutrients required for recovery circulating through them, which will only speed up the recovery process. So let's look at this over a longer time period. So we have both versions of you, version A, version B. Both have a goal of growing a bigger chest. Version A has shitty recovery, so they need 4 days before that they're able to train their chest again. But version B, they do their little bit of cardio, they get moving throughout a day, and they might only need 3 days until they're able to hit their chest again. We're going to do this over, let's say, a year's worth of time, and I'm going to get rid of the weekend days because nobody should be training 7 days a week. So both of them have the same 261 days within the year to train their chest as many times as they can. So version A needs 4 days, version B needs 3. The amount of sessions that version A is able to get is 65, whereas version B, they're able to train their chest 87 times. That is over 20 more sessions just in 1 year, training the exact same way, but the one does a little bit more cardio. To me, that should be a no-brainer. Aside from muscle building, there are holistic benefits to moving more. Humans as a species evolved to move, not sit around in an enclosed office space without any windows. Walking outdoors has been shown to positively impact mood and mental health, and not to mention that a healthy cardiovascular system will help you live longer. The other area I focus on regarding your movement is the impact it has on the amount of calories you're burning on a daily basis, which is known as your total daily energy expenditure. There are 4 different factors that play a role in determining what your TDEE is. To start off is the basal metabolic rate, which takes up about 60 to 70% of this daily caloric expenditure, and these are the calories required for your body to run the most essential processes and nothing else. It's literally you sitting there laying motionless all day long. The next factor that can come into play is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT for short, and these are the calories that you burn in a day just moving around, not any scheduled workouts or exercise, hence the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And this makes up about 15% of your total daily energy expenditure. The third factor is the thermic effect of food, and this is the energy required to break down the food that you're consuming and takes up about 10% of your total daily energy expenditure. Exercise activity thermogenesis is the fourth factor that comes into play here, and it'll range anywhere from 5 to 15% of your total daily energy expenditure, and it's dependent on the type of workouts that you're doing. Resistance training will be more towards the lower end, which is the 5% of your TDEE, while longer cardio sessions will be more towards the higher end. Within the book are calculators and equations to help you determine your total daily energy expenditure. Knowing your estimated total daily energy expenditure is power. With this information, you can manipulate your nutrition and food intake to either increase, decrease, or keep your weight the same. Within the book itself are calculators and equations to use to personalize your daily caloric intake as well as your macronutrient goals based on whatever your weight goals are. When it comes to controlling your weight, the energy balance equation is king. If you are eating more calories than you burn, you are going to gain weight, and if you are eating less calories than you burn, you're going to lose weight. While this is the case, I don't necessarily agree with screaming at the camera and being super bullheaded that calories in, calories out is the only thing that matters. Now, I'm not trying to take a shot at Greg Doucette directly, because he's obviously kicking ass in the fitness industry as I sit here with maybe 20 subscribers, which I appreciate you all dearly, I must add. But I understand why Greg does want to get this calories in, calories out point across, because it's easy as hell to remember, and for the vast majority of people, simplifying things will only make achieving their goals easier. Too often, people hop from trend to trend, fad to fad, program to program, ideology to ideology, however you want to describe it, but not being able to stay consistent with a plan is the biggest reason many people don't see results with their health and fitness goals, and calories in, calories out is about as simple as it gets. There is more nuance to it, and for many, this nuance won't impact them or probably won't even help them reach their goals. But pretending like these nuances don't exist is where I'd like to stick my say in here and say, hold on, we should be able to at least look at this and think about it. Many factors can cause shifts in the balance towards either side. Such things can be your sleep duration and sleep quality, percent of lean body mass, your hormone levels, and how well you digest the food you are eating. And then lastly, what I think is the most criminal things done to the US population is the type of food that we're feeding ourselves. Almost 3/4 of the US population is overweight. Let me say that again. 3/4 of the US population is overweight. What the hell? How? The food intake of the average American is abysmal. Now, I'm not saying that we need to completely avoid these foods, but I'm also saying you shouldn't. Regardless, something here is fucked up. There are so many different angles on how one could shit on the standard American diet, but the take I have in the book is what's happening in the brain when we eat this bullshit food. Processed foods taste so damn good. Do you want to know why? It's because they were engineered to do so. The body's response and release of these feel-good chemicals from these highly palatable foods is on another level that real foods cannot create. The issue with this is that you get hooked on them because real single-ingredient foods, they just don't compare to how these ultra-processed foods make you feel. Whether it's how you cope with stress, the cravings you get of these foods between meals and between bites sometimes, or whatever dysregulated pattern is going on inside you, it is damn near impossible to eat a reasonable amount of food when these foods create an unreasonable response within us. So how are we able to fix this? Sticking to real single-ingredient whole foods, breathing slow, chewing the shit out of it, not having a distraction in front of you so you can stay in the present moment, and even preparing the meal yourself. If that sounds like something a psychotic person would do, consider me and many others who maintain a lean physique with ease, Call us fucking insane. This is not what a person crushing fast food all day wants to hear, but there is a reason they are overweight, and this is the way to help them get out of it. No calorie tracking is required. Following an approach like this makes it damn near impossible to overeat. For those of you with fitness-related goals, which doesn't necessarily correlate with health-related goals, if you're going to keep tabs on the food that you eat, direct the amount of your efforts towards each aspect in this diagram its respective percentage. To start, calories are king, macros come second, then once you can nail those down, it would make sense to start thinking about meal timing and micronutrients, with supplements being the cherry on the top. Micros are obviously important to overall health, as they're responsible for regulating all of the body's essential processes to simply function. But I've seen so many people make crazy progress without a single attempt to add in one micro, so take that as you will. Meal timing can be a useful tool for those of you who have fitness goals high up on the priority list of things in your life. Meal timing implementations such as keeping your carb intake around your workouts and evenly spacing your protein can help you push the needle of progression that little bit extra if peak performance is what you're after. The foods recommended within this book, if you aren't already picking up what I'm putting down, are single ingredient whole foods. This portion of the book is very similar to Stan Efferding's vertical diet, which I highly recommend everyone getting if the info within this is interesting to you. The purpose of primarily consuming these foods is to help you optimize your digestion, as you aren't what you eat, rather what you can assimilate. Other benefits from these foods are maintaining consistent energy levels, fueling your training performance and recovery, supporting micronutrient sufficiency, and these foods can be used to even manipulate your appetite towards whatever goal you have, whether it's to gain or lose weight. In the resources section of the book, it has a complete list of recommended foods, sample meals, how to construct your meals, and other things of importance impacting your appetite and digestion, which my other video on this book goes into more detail about. I want to touch on salt quickly, as this is one of the more common areas I see lifters underutilize. Do not fear it. Please don't fear salt. Now, if you're crushing junk food all the time on a consistent basis, then maybe this is something you need to think about. But if your diet is primarily single ingredient whole foods, you need to be adding salt into your diet. If you think you've been getting good pumps in the gym and you haven't been salting your foods, boy or girl, do I have news for you. Put a good dose on your pre-workout meal, and the pump you're going to get from this salt will speak for itself. Salt is also essential for hydrating you and maybe even the cause of low energy levels or headaches you experience throughout a day. The last thing I'll cover regarding things going into your body are supplements. From the diagram earlier, you saw how little of an impact these things play when it comes to just the total results that you'll see. If you are feeling defensive about this, congratulations, because you have been successfully emotionally manipulated by these marketing schemes into the trap that these things are so powerful. Don't feel bad though, because these companies are really good at doing it, and I still fall under their evil spells as well. Supplements I have no issues with are protein powders, because 1, they are convenient as hell, and 2, they can taste pretty fucking good. Another supplement that I recommend many take is creatine, as it's been repeatedly shown to be effective in improving your performance. As for pre-workouts, things can get dicey real quick here. As an absolute degenerate pre-workout user myself from the age of 18 to 21, I've spent some serious cash on pre's that gave me some seriously epic workouts. This call is probably going to fall on deaf ears, but these pre-workouts are not regulated by the FDA. These companies do not give a shit about the effects some of these stimulants being used on you do to you. Granted, the workouts you're going to have will be fucking nuts, but at least think about the fact that there are risks associated with these heavy stim pre's for more than 3 seconds. There are plenty of other products that won't crack you out of your mind, but will still give you a good workout and a pump. But a lot of these pump products you see on the shelves or online, a lot of them are filled with bullshit ingredients as well. The pre-workout section of the resources part of my book covers ingredients to look for and at what dosages you want them to, as well as the ingredients you'll want to avoid, as they're either 1, ineffective, or 2, not safe for you to use. Now onto the closest thing of a PED that natural athletes have access to, which is sleep. Again, I'll put up another hierarchy for how to optimize your efforts to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to sleep. The biggest thing to focus on is consistently getting 7+ hours as many nights as possible. Not every other night or only when your day is perfectly set up to get it, but making it a priority. Once you have a regular sleep schedule of 7+ hours, you will drastically see improvements in your performance in the gym, your recovery between sessions, and then it'll just give you an extra pep in your step as you go about your daily life. The next thing to focus on is having consistent wake up and bedtimes. This will, one, help you get that 7+ hours, but the real power here is getting a regulated circadian rhythm. Once you can get a well-running circadian rhythm, the benefits you're going to get from the quality of sleep you'll have is almost God tier. Your circadian rhythm is your body's innate ability to understand the time of day it is, and it responds accordingly with states of either alertness or sleepiness. For a deep dive on implementations I've done personally to set up my circadian rhythm to run unreasonably well, watch my HRV video, as it details what I did to get quality sleep and then the benefits I observed through biometric data I recorded on my Oura Ring. The sleep environment you find yourself in plays a huge role in what kind of quality sleep you're going to get with the time that you're in your bed. Within the resources section of the Potent Priorities book, there are ways to make your sleep environment more conducive to getting quality sleep. The next step to take if you want to regulate your circadian rhythm more efficiently is to expose yourself to bright lights in the morning, not your cell phone, but real sunlight, and then limiting bright lights towards the end of the day, whether that is using candles, light dimmers, or some groovy looking blue light blockers that I've got on here. I've got breathing up towards the top on the smaller tier of the sleep hierarchy, but I need to definitely make a point within this because there are some simple and very effective techniques which I found just by searching YouTube. It is called Yoga Nidra, and I use it on myself and clients as well. And it's probably the most effective method I've came across to help you fall asleep if that's something you struggle with. I want to quickly mention some of my thoughts on caffeine. What I'm going to bring up is this negative caffeine loop that can occur if your caffeine intake starts to get out of control. And getting trapped in this vicious cycle is an absolute bitch to get out of. No way around it. If you are consistently combating poor sleep with more caffeine, things begin to spiral out of control. Your increased caffeine intake will only make your sleep worse, which in return makes your energy levels throughout the day worse as well. The only ways to combat this type of tiredness is to, one, drinking more caffeine, which is digging you deeper into that hole, or two, you just need to take a break from caffeine. You're going to have a few shitty days, but then you're going to begin to regain your mental clarity as your sleep quality improves and your dependency on caffeine will begin to fade. The last section of the book goes into training, and my approach specifically emphasizes physique enhancement. If you're interested in doing powerlifting, Olympic lifting, or athlete-specific training, this section is not necessarily for you, but the ideas within it and the benefits you'd receive from training this type of way should cross over into your area of focus and help you perform better in that aspect. The majority of my training approach comes from N1 education, as my goal with training clients is to make sure that their body is properly aligned with the external resistance that is acting upon them to help them reach the goal of the exercise as efficiently as possible, so we're getting the most out of the least amount of work. Most leg and muscle groups are caused by either, one, just being improperly set up within an exercise, so the resistance is being applied incorrectly, or two, incorrectly executing the exercise even if you are set up correctly because of a bad cue you've gotten, or just the intent of your rep is not in the right area. Once you can nail exercise setup and execution, the return experience is going to be whatever muscle you're targeting will be working hard. This is often referred to as like feeling it or mind-muscle connection. If you're interested in improving your mind-muscle connection, I have a free program with a full video breakdown of what's included within the program and how to properly execute it. Benefits of this training approach are, one, getting you fucking yacked because the muscles you're targeting are being trained effectively. Two, you're preventing injury as the resistance being applied to your body is loaded onto the muscles and not supporting structures that aren't designed to be the main bearers of the load. And three, being able to train for the long haul because your joints are shot from having shitty form and applying resistances incorrectly to your body. Understanding that progressive overload is the main driver for gains is crucial. The simply put saying of adding more weight has its place as it's easy to grasp and understand what progress is, but there is more nuance to progressive overload than simply adding more weight to the bar, which you can compare this to the calories in, calories out debate. The term I use in the book, which means the same thing as progressive overload, is increasing the stimulus of a workout. The resources section of the book contains 9 different ways to increase the stimulus of your workout without adding more weight. And then there are 4 things to keep in mind if you're going to add more weight onto whatever exercise you're doing. I end the training section with some thoughts on breathing and how to do it correctly during each rep. Breathing is one of the most powerful tools each and every one of us has access to, both in and out of the gym. In the context of training, staying in control of your breath is a skill, and the better that you can get at staying in control of the breath, deeper and deeper within a set, is about as damn close to a superpower as I can think of. It sucks that I can sit here for hours preaching its importance, but the power you gain is unrecognizable until you're able to experience it yourself. Being able to follow these 4 priorities 100% of the time could be considered ideal, but that's not realistic. Maybe for bodybuilders or elite athletes that are dialed the fuck in for a show or event of just like one day. But for the rest of us, the best approach I can think of is understanding what's important to us in our life outside of the gym and then making it work with these priorities so it doesn't feel like a chore, but rather something we are choosing to take on because we understand the benefits of following a lifestyle in this way. If you choose to follow a lifestyle like this, understand that you're going to be a minority when it comes to just the average mainstream person. But I would argue, why would you give a shit about mainstream? Because mainstream does not give a shit about you. You can make these priorities either as simple as possible or as complex as you want them. Want to keep it simple? Here you go. Movement. Don't sit around all day. Nutrition. Eat primarily single ingredient whole foods with quality sources of protein in all of your meals. Sleep. 7+ hours each and every day. Training. Have good form and train hard. That's it. If you want to take it a step further, do it. Take a step and see how you respond. This is going to be a game of guess and check, and your game will have a different ending than the person next to you, so embrace the journey and make it yours. Support evolutionary aesthetics through the value for value model. Use any of the information I provided to help you get 15-inch arms. That 15 means something to you. Whether you donate $1.50, $15, or $150, that's irrelevant to me. Granted, the $150 would be cool. But the fact that I was able to help you reach your goal is what I find valuable. If you want to donate in a similar way to this, state why the number you're donating is valuable, add any additional notes that you think others might find useful, and upload any of your progress pics showing the progress you've made, as in the future I'll be adding clips or whole separate videos showing your results and my appreciation for your support. The other way you can support evolutionary aesthetics is through the recurrent monthly payments, which you can see on there are the plate plans. No matter the method you use to donate, each dollar you donate is equal to £1. So over time, let's assume you're going to donate progressively more and more, or just do a one-time donation so you can reach the 135 pound, 225 pound, or 315 pound clubs. Once you reach these amounts, you'll receive a free gift from me showing my appreciation for your support. Check out my website to see what these incentives are, and thank you for watching, and you'll see me in the next video.